Welcome to the British Grand Prix to finish off the first half of the inaugural Formula League season. Here we go. Anti seems to have stalled. Kraft, mayhaps as well. Right now is ghosted, so that's not much of an issue. But here we are for 4 minutes as our drivers prepare to try and get into the second round of qualifying. As 13 drivers here today fighting for that honour and fighting to win the British Grand Prix in the end. And as such, only half of them rounded down can make it to Q2, so that is 6 people that can make it to Q2 as we're following here. Eurist and Suicide and Joe and Jeff. And it's Joe who goes provisionally in first place. Kraft, then Mart, Vlad, Jiruni, and Corvid currently in the spots to get into Q2. Prix with the slowest start, a 38.32. Anti, who admitted himself he's not done a single lap on this track yet. Well, his first lap was a 37.65. Eurus started from the very front, so his lap was quite slower, as he had less time to speed up before the start line. A lot of the drivers on their flying laps here, and it's Joe with a 32.68, Corvid behind him a 32.73, and Kraft a 32.83. So those 3 drivers now have hit a sub 33 lap time. Mart is still in to get into Q2, 4th fastest currently. Impressive stuff in the worst car on the grid. Then it is Commie and it is Jeff hanging on to 6th, 33.95. He is 3.5 tenths behind, but Eurist improves. Now Jiruni improves, 33.38, jumps up to 4th. Vlad improves up to 7th. Goose, I believe, has improved up to 10th now. So is Charge GT, Corvid, Kraft, Jiruni, and Mart as things stand. Looks like Corvid has in fact ended his qualifying session early. He's in the pits right now, and he's decided that's good enough to make it through into Q2. Well, we'll see about that. Kami now goes across the line. It's a 32.58. Amazing lap from Kamikaze, and he's through into provisionally first right now. Of course, it's not pole position yet. Mart drops down to 7th as Vlad improves up to 5th with a 33.05. Charge JT, 32.33. That is the best lap we've seen so far on this circuit. The second best was Corvid's 32.37. It was achieved in the second free practice session. That is quite something. It's the final minute now of qualifying. Suicide starts lap 6. Of course, it's very important to time your out laps and your flying laps perfectly, because there's been quite a few times that drivers have timed their flying laps a bit wrong and have ended up just going across the line, finishing their qualifying session when they were preparing for a flying lap, and of course that is awkward. Kraft improves to 32.57, 100 faster than Kamikaze. More importantly, Vlad still holding on to that final Q2 position, looking to make it to Carpathian's Peak Racing cars in Q2. Neither him nor Mart behind improve, but both of them get not too dissimilar lap times. Looks like a bit of lag from Mart there, not sure what occurred there. Now Corvid's back out on the track, but Charge GT is in, looking to lock it in, or maybe he will come back later like Corvid. There is no tire wear in this session, so there is no need to pit for fresh softs. Here comes Vlad on the final lap, will not improve. Mart will not improve. Jeff improves to 33.90, that puts him in 9th. Kami does not improve. Anti does not improve. And here comes Suicide and Prix. Suicide looking to improve to a 33.95, goes 10th fastest. Prix nor Goose neither improving, and next up to finish is Kraft. Currently looks like Joe, Kraft, Kami, Corvid, Jiruni, and Vlad to make it through into Q2. Kraft makes another sub 32. Eurist improves to 33.67, goes 9th fastest. And that, I believe, is it. Corvid and Joe, the only ones still on extra laps. but both of them are assured to go through into Q2. So as it stands, it's Charge GT, Kraft, Kamikaze, Corvid, four drivers starting with the letter C. Then it is Jiruni, and Vlad makes it double Q2 appearance for Carpathians Peak Racing. They will be very happy with that. Mart and Goose, the Napoli Corsa drivers in the worst car on the grid, performing miracles. 7th and 8th is not a bad place to start, just missing out on Q2. Then it is Eurus, then Jeff, then Suicide. Anti will start from 12th, and I believe it will be Priya from 13th. Here we go then, just 6 drivers, just one less minute than before, just 3 minutes for them. Who will start on pole position? Kraft stalls, Jiruni also slow off the line, but I think that's more his decision than any technical issues. Charge GT with a quick start, of course, first lap, never as fast as a flying lap, as I've probably said a million times by now, but we've got 2 Carpathians Peak drivers into Q2. I believe Vlad's debut in Formula League as well. He is the owner of Carpathians Peak, and as such, of course, priority for him to drive for his own team, similar to how Priya is driving for Audi alongside Corvid. Jiruni now, with his late start, is on provisional pole, and just look at that, Vlad on the front row at the current moment. Everyone between 35 and 36 seconds, Kami just a little bit off, just 36.03. And already we're a third of the way through, only 2 minutes left. And even with an extra minute added on, Q2 goes by really quick. Here's Charge GT, 32.83. Kraft, 32.37. Amazing. Just amazing stuff from Kraft and Joe and Corvid, of course. All of them now have hit a time of 32.3. Kraft slows down now, looking for a recharge lap. Personally, Vlad has a lot of boost saved up. Looking to spend it all now? Interesting strategy. Joe now will be recharging. Corvid is not improving this lap. Vlad improves to 33.63. Kamikaze improves to 33.05. Goes 4th fastest. Will we see still some improvements from Corvid or Charge GT? I mean, really, we should. It's the final minute. Corvid looks to have slowed down, looking to take it as a recharge lap and a flying lap at the very dying embers of the qualifying session. Here goes Vlad. He's got his full tank filled up. And there they both go. Kraft quite far behind them in terms of starting. Oh, and there's Kami as well. But Vlad and Corvid look to be keeping similar pace. Vlad loses a few tenths through the hairpin. Lot through that slalom section. Here goes Corvid. Improves 32.30. Vlad 33 flat. Vlad in 5th currently. Jiruni 32.85. He's got a sub 33. Charge GT has gone to 32.25. Incredible. Just the most astonishing lap times here. And it's the final lap now, and it looks like everything is going to stay quite similar to this. I don't see much improvements happening. These are already insane lap times. Here it goes. Vlad doesn't not improve. Corvid not improving either. Charge GT going into the pits for a bit of fun. Kami improves 32.90. It's not enough. Only beats out his teammate for 5th position. Charge GT with an astonishing pole position time was focusing a bit too much on Corvid and Vlad. So many fast laps here. 2.3s, 1.2. Here goes Kraft. 32.47 does not improve on that. Jiruni doesn't look like he'll improve. 34.67 for him. Charge GT still has some time. He waited quite a bit. Doesn't want to waste any laps. He is on the final lap though, and there is no need to go for it, and he doesn't look to be going for it. Just celebrating his pole position, I believe, his first, perhaps, as we had, I believe, Anti in round 1. We had Kraft in rounds 3 and 4, and Nuno in round 2, I believe. Charge GT, Corvid will start in the front row. Then it's Kraft and the HRT1 driver Giruni. Then the two Carpathians Peaks. Alright. Oh, and it's a wet start. Heavy rain here at the Glasgow circuit as we prepare to start this British Grand Prix. Here we go. Kraft, Giruni stall, both of them. Prix also looks to stall behind Charge GT with a quick start. And the Napoli Corsa of Mart, Giruni and Kraft and Vlad and Kami all involved in a bit of a crazy midfield here. Look at the chaos. Urus started on the inters, takes Jeff down with him into the gravel trap. It's Charge GT currently enjoying a calm lead. Corvid in second. Kraft fighting with Kami. He probably sees himself ahead due to the stalling issues. Then it's Mart fighting with Giruni, Vlad, Suicide, Goose, Jeff, Urus. Goose makes a mistake. Looks to be an unforced error. And he is now behind Jeff and Urus, who are battling for 9th position. Anti and Priya have started the race in the same positions. Corvid is close behind to Charge GT. Look how the cars struggle in the rain. That this track is a very technical circuit. And as such, it's even more difficult when you're trying to do it in heavy rain conditions. Let's take a look at the midfield situation, because it is all over the place. Kraft looks to have detached now into third. Then it's Kami, who's just caught his slip. Mart, Vlad, Suicide and Giruni. This is a little pack of 6 cars here. Mart makes a mistake. Giruni goes really slow there. Not sure if he made contact, but Urus goes past him now. As the track dries out, the two drivers on the inters, Urus and Jeff, will be faster. The question is how much faster. Now it's sunny, so the track will dry out even more. Less of an advantage for the inter runners, but still an advantage. Corvid goes into the lead of the race, goes down the inside on Joe. Both of them still sticking close together here. Let's take a bit of a closer look. Kami, Vlad, Mart, Suicide battling here for 4th position. The rain is coming back and it will be light rain, which will make the inter-runners profit. Mart looks to have teleported a little bit there. And again, doesn't look to be causing too much issues yet. Hits the wall. Vlad cannot find a move on him. Kami's looking to try and run away from them. Mart deploys his boost. Kami does as well. Everyone deploying their boosts. Corvid is still in front of Charge GT at the moment. Both of them driving together. Kraft alone in third. Then it is Kami, Kazi and Mart, and they are catching up to Kraft as he made a mistake just now. Vlad just sticking behind Mart at the moment, and Suicide on the wets in 7th. Giruni in 8th, still respectable position. Urus in 9th. Anti has recovered up to 10th. Goose has fallen to 12th, and Jeff to 11th. Charge GT now looks to have lost Corvid. And Kami and the pack have lost Kraft, but Vlad makes it ahead of Mart Andres. Here's Suicide and Giruni. Close behind them are Urus and Anti. If one of them makes a mistake, the next one down the field gets slipstream. Looks like Kami has had a big incident because he's dropped down the field massively, and I've missed that. He's behind Mart and Vlad now. Kraft is in front of Charge GT at the moment as we're going back to heavy rain. It's just utter torture at this track to be stuck in such a level of rain. Vlad running in 4th. Mart goes out wide in 5th. Kami is on the back of him now, looking for a move down the inside if he can get side by side with Mart Andres. goes looking for just any mistake that Mart might make, goes very aggressively through the hairpin. Mart forced out. Kami hits some grass himself. He's back behind Mart again, gets his way through, and they're side by side on the finish line now, looking a bit twitchy. Suicide still running in 7th, then Giroudi. Then it's Eurist and Anti. Nothing's changed there. They're pretty separate from each other. Kraft is now caught up to Corvid. Charge GT has dropped back to Vlad. Is it his car that is struggling, or has he made mistakes? It's not like Joe to make too many mistakes, but we'll have to see how his recovery goes if he manages to pull one off. Kami and Mart together now. Suicide caught up with them for a moment, but looks to have made a grave error there, and now Giroudi is in front of him. Kami and Mart still swapping positions here and there, fighting, and Kami tries to go down the inside of Mart, finds himself in that runoff, gets slowed down. Now Giroudi goes for a move, but it's just not the right moment there. Both of the drivers lose traction. Mart is slipping away from them. Vlad currently running in a podium on his debut. That's quite something. As he's past Charge GT now, I believe the Garage 97 car might just be struggling with the grip, as you need a lot more grip for rainy conditions. Prix has entered the pits. Looks to be DNFing. Corvid and Kraft holding it up together. The front two positions. Mart now has detached himself. Kami, Jerry, and Suicide driving in this little slip pack. Jerry makes a bunch of grass touches. Looks to let through Suicide as a result. Not sure, but Kami in that little bit of chaos has found himself further away from them. God, just these little pairs as Kraft is now into the lead of the race. Our third driver in the lead of the race. I'm not sure if we've had a race so far that's had as many leaders, perhaps in Spain. Vlad still running in third behind Joe. Look at the sliding of the cars. Those wets are getting really worn now as well. Jared just manages to avoid fully forcing Suicide into the grass. Suicide breaks and hits a lot of grass, and that is a massive slowdown for him. Kami, and Jared struggling together. Eurist on the enters, profiting a lot. Jared and Suicide are into the pits early, while nobody else is going into it except for Anti. Jared on the softs, Suicide on the mediums, and Anti opts for the hards. Then it's Jeff, who's also into the pits. He's going to pit onto hards. Goose onto hards. These drivers behind everyone else. Of course, the track had more time to dry out for them. Kraft and Corvid into the pits, and we'll finally see some dry running here at Glasgow. 12 laps in. It's softs for Corvid, hards for both Joe and Vlad. Which strategy will prove superior? Mart opts for the hards. Look at the undercut Suicide and Giroudi have achieved. They've gone for just the right strategy here. Anti as well has managed to just gain so much time. He is now in front of both Kami and Eurist. So risking, even if the rain came back, well, if the rain came back, that would be quite bad for them. But they risked it, and they managed to pull it off. Corvid goes into the lead of the race now. It looks like Kraft is outside of slipstream, but he might see himself more ahead, as due to his stall at the start of the race. Vlad and Joe both on hards, just going third and fourth at the moment. Then it's Giroudi and Suicide who find themselves ahead of Mart thanks to their strategy move. However, they are on softer tires. The question is not whether these tires are faster, it's whether these tires are fast enough to make it worthwhile, and whether they can last enough. That's why a huge majority of the grid have opted for hards instead, as it is quite a grip-intensive track with all the hairpins around. Mart looking for a move on Suicide, who is on faster tires, but Mart is not willing to let that stop him on the hards. Makes the move stick, but Suicide is trying to counter him. And Mark goes deep into the grass. It's Suicide back into P6 at the moment. Corvid detached himself from Kraft now, so it looks like maybe Kraft did indeed lose his slipstream. Vlad is just driving his best drive just ahead of pole setter Charge JT. Giruni has just run away from Martin's Suicide, who are still squabbling over that position. He's looking safe in 5th. The fastest lap of the race currently is a 32.98 by Corvid. We have Urist, Anti-Commie, this little pack, looking to catch up to Martin Su. Look how much battling can cost you on this track. That is a hell of a lot of time. Anti looking for a move on Urist. They go side by side, but Anti's got more boost saved up, and he goes through into P8. Commie definitely not happy with where he is at the moment, but we've seen before that he's willing to just concentrate and try and recover up the field, as he did back in Mugello after a bad start on the red flag restart. Corvin and Kraft, nothing new up here. Charge AT has made it into 3rd place ahead of Vlad, who is a second behind now. Giruni is 4 seconds behind that pair, as Mart is ahead of Suicide now. Suicide closer to Anti and Urist behind, as the mediums, I think, are just wearing down, and so are the softs, in fact. The Corvid into the pits after 6 laps of running on the softs. Or, yes, 6 laps, I believe. Here's Kraft into the lead of the race. Joe exits the pits. He is a second behind Corvid, who's decided to go for the hards. So, if the softs ran for about 6 laps, Giruni exits down in 10th. He's opted to go for the mediums. Doesn't look to be banking on the hards in this race. So, if the softs last about 6 laps, it's fair to assume usually that mediums will last about 8 to 9 and hards will last about 10 to 12 perhaps. In which case, I believe the pit window for hard runners, it looks like 8 laps for Suicide on the mediums and or 9 laps since he did undercut. Pit window for hard runners will be from laps 22 to laps 24. That is what I believe. Kraft now laps Goosey, who after quite an impressive qualifying is 6 seconds behind 11th now, so he's struggling a bit in the race pace department, but he's still here and driving with us and trying his best. Corvid running just calmly in 2nd at the current moment. We'll get back into the lead of the race once Kraft pits. Charge JT detached himself from Vlad now, running on the final podium position. Not where he wanted to be, considering he started from 1st. He'd want to be a bit closer to the action for the race when Vlad's still running quite calmly. And 4th, those hards have seen better days though, so I think the drivers will be pitting soon. Urist is up into 5th at the current moment. In fact, Anti is already into the pits. He doesn't trust that Garage 97 grip. They have had struggles with that through the season despite an amazing start in Spain. And it's just 9 laps on him on the hards. No, he was one of the undercutters, so it is 10. And this looks to be the pit window now pretty much open for the hard runners. Kraft stays out. Corvid is, of course, on fresh hards, pitted lap 18. But here comes Joe. He switches to another set of hards. Looks like one more stop for him. Vlad does the exact same thing. Urus stays out on these worn hards and in fact overtakes Vlad as a result. Meanwhile, Giruni pitted off the softs. He finds himself promoted back up to 6th, just behind Vlad and Urus. Anti now with the undercut. Suicide has pitted for fresh hards. So has Mart. So has Commie, and Anti finds himself up in 7th, still profiting off that undercut when the rain was leaving. Kraft finally into the pits, and he is now 7 seconds behind Corvid. Corvid's not on very worn out hards yet, he's just on fairly worn out hards. So he's really benefiting there. So we see Jiruni 2 seconds behind Vlad. Let's take a look at Anti, and Suicide boosts down the outside to take 6th. Anti trying to counter it here. Goes down the inside of that very difficult hairpin. This next hairpin, Suicide goes down the inside. Anti shot a little bit into the grass, but he's still got the slipstream. Right at the back of Suicide until he let him back into P6. And this is probably the closest fight we're having. We have a little pack forming right behind them. It's Urist and Mart and Kami all looking for a move. They're all on the same age of hearts. Kami looking for a very dangerous move there. However, it goes too deep into the grass, and we're going to have light rain. Mart hits the wall. Kami hits him, and they both, in fact, decide, screw it, we'll pet for some rain tires. Kami on the enters, Mart on the wets. It might be a fake rain though, but it is a risk they're willing to take. Corvid, in fact, goes on the enters. Kraft also on the enters. Charge GT stays out. Vlad, in. He is in. Corvid, that is some massive lag from him at the current moment. And yes, it is fake rain. Charge GT has played it just right. Vlad, Jiruni, and Anti and Suicide all pit onto fresh, dry tires. Urist, meanwhile, he's on pretty fresh tires himself, and he's promoted up into 5th with this masterstroke of strategy. Charge AT, however, struggling a bit, has lost some time to Kraft and Corvid, but will it be enough time lost? No, Corvid's already into the pits on dry tires. Kraft still stays out an extra lap, looking to see a situation like in Brest or in Paul Ricard happen again, where the rain looked to be a fake rain, but then it changed its mind once again and changed straight back to rain. He's got nothing to lose at the current moment, but he does force Joe quite wide there on his worst tires for this current state of the track, and he's into the pits now. It's given up. The rain isn't coming, and it's Charge AT into the lead of the race. Corvid in P2. Kraft looking to exit on mediums in P3 now. Corvid only 2 seconds behind Joe. Kraft, however, is now 5 seconds behind Corvid, and he's got Vlad on faster tires behind him. Vlad looking to make a gap between himself and Urist behind, as he is on the softs. Took the opportunity during the rain. Everyone else just decided to pit for fresh hards, but Vlad has mixed it up a bit. He's gone very wide there, and it's going to be light rain soon. Once again, nobody stay out on the inters here. Jiruni looking for a move on Urist. Makes it happen. They're looking to chase down Vlad after that mistake. I wonder what happened there. Suicide pits again for the enters. Looking to have some luck this time. Hoping to have some luck this time. Mart also just pits for the enters again. Nothing to lose. And it's fake rain again, or will it be fake rain? We'll have to see, but that is quite disappointing for Suicide and Mart. Anti, meanwhile, staying out. He's in 7th at the current moment. Starting from 12th, that's good, but Jiruni and Urist appeared to have gotten to some sort of lag rocket. Urist, the real victim of that, as he got really forced out wide, lost massive amounts of time to Jiruni. His hards, however, are really struggling. He's got way more worn hards than the rest of the grid, who pitted for a fresh set. However, he stayed out. And now look at how he struggles. Anti is catching him bit by bit. Jiruni very close behind Vlad, who decides to enter the pits. His softs are gone. And I think he'll finish on the hards. 12 laps on the hards. Corvid makes a massive mistake. Charge GT really dropped behind both him and Kraft. Kraft is into the lead of the race. What has been happening? It's complete chaos in terms of who stays where. Corvid, I don't know if that was just his ping, but you look to have smashed the wall on the exit of the final turn, and he still looks to be laggy to some extent. It's because Charge GT is just pitted for a very fresh set of hards. That might explain some of the time loss. That will probably be his final set. In fact, no, Vlad isn't set for 12 laps of hards, it's 14 perhaps. I think it's a better move than pitting again. If he chooses to stay out, I think that is a better move if we can just make it stick, because the pit lane is not very quick, so it might just work out. Kraft currently running in the lead of the race. Corvid's right behind him. Charge AT 4 seconds off. 10 seconds off is Jiruni. Vlad's kind of struggling. He's behind Anti and Urist. Urist still on the hards. Still on these hards, not looking to get off of them. Looking to make it only one more stop for himself until the end. Well, if that's the case, and if Vlad does not pit again, then we can be certain to some extent that Urist will finish behind Vlad. That's an arguable case. I think Anti and Urist will be pitting soon. 11 laps to the end, and looks like this will be Urist's final stop. Kraft is on fairly worn mediums. I think he'll have to pit again. Same with Corvid. I don't think Joe will be pitting again though, and that's the advantage he's got over the others. Jiruni will have to pit again. Vlad, it will be very risky, but I think he'll be able to stay out. Anti will have to pit again, and Urist has just pit for the final time. Suicide is very hard to judge whether he can run those mediums to the end. Kami will have to pit again, I believe, and Mart same as with Suicide. Same with Jeff. Goose will probably pit once more. Charge GT has made it past Kraft, who's pitted onto supremely fresh hards here. And he's only 2 seconds behind Joe, and here comes Corvid. Here comes Corvid, getting mixed up with all these names beginning with C. Charge AT into the lead of the race, Kraft into second. Corvid exits out in third, but on the freshest compound of tires, and with some fresh set of lag as well. Vlad up into P4, Goose pits for a set of hards, 9 laps until the end. Anti is in 5th, and his hards have seen better days, man. Damn. Will he try and finish this race on mediums or softs? That is quite an interesting question. Jiruni, only 2 seconds behind him, is on completely fresh hards, just slightly fresher than Urist's. Charge GT still running in the lead of the race. However, he's got a massive gap in terms of tire freshness to Kraft behind, who is looking to catch up, in fact. It's all about the race pace and the skill here. Might even end up a freeway battle for the race win. 7 laps until the end. It's been a somewhat eventful race, but events that I've missed quite a few times. Vlad is just chilling in 4th at the moment. I think he'll be able to pull off that hards, but we'll have to see. At the very most, he's risking only Jiruni. Clouds coming soon. No rain announcement, but that might really shake up the grid. Urist 6 seconds behind Jiruni. Anti is pitted for a fresh set of mediums. I was right. He is planning for that. Kraft into the lead of the race. Let's focus on this fight for the race win, and then let's switch over. Kami gets past Mart for 9th, and Mart really struggling. All his mediums are completely gone. I think he'll have to pit again for softs. And back to the race leaders we go. Kraft is still in front of Joe. I think Joe might be aiming to slip him instead, but he just goes very wide here, loses a lot of time. Won't be slipping him anymore. It will be very hard for Joe to get the win now. Suicide pits for softs, comes out behind Kami. Mart pits for softs. Here we go. Joe is now just over a second behind Kraft, who's really enjoying those fresher hards. Joe really slowed down there. Corvid's right on his back. Kraft is just running further and further away as a result. Corvid struggling. He might be closer to Joe on his screen, and that may be the source of his struggles here. Antti and Eurus together as Pumpkin, the Carpathian's Peak driver, joins the lobby 41 laps too late. Eurus somewhat forced into the grass there, somewhat not. Tried to go for a move on the inside, but it was unavailable. Antti is on the faster tires and on the more fresher tires as well. But Eurus is still looking for a move on him. Cho has now lost 4.5 seconds to Kraft. His hards have really fallen off. And looks like Vlad is really getting chased by Jaruni behind here. Antti just holding on 2 P6 ahead of Eurus. Suicide looking for a move on Commies on the softs, on very fresh softs. A lot of things happening here. Kraft starts the penultimate lap of the race, not the final one yet, but he is looking for a win. Corvid and Joe side by side. Joe forced off Corvid into second place. One way to do it. Joe's hard's obviously struggling anyways, so it would have happened quite soon. Vlad still running ahead of Jaruni. Antti still just ahead of Eurus, who is using that slip to his maximum extent. Commy still holding on ahead of Suicide. Suicide looking for a move here. Commy fights back. Still holding on. Suicide in front of him, boosts his way down the straight. Who's got more boost saved up? Commy does, but he kind of used it on the back of Suicide, and they're still fighting together. Kraft on the final lap of the race now, and it's looked this way for a few laps now, but it looks like we've got a brand new Formula League race winner as Kraft, just as his virtual counterpart did in JV West. Kraft now in Formula League wins at the Glasgow circuit, wins the British Grand Prix. First win for Monarch Motorsports. Corvid comes in second for Audi, and it's a podium finish for Charge GT, our pole sitter, for third place. Jaruni ahead of Vlad now, and Vlad just doesn't have the juice in those hards to keep going. It's fourth place for Jaruni, fifth for Vlad, and sixth, our first driver from the same team as someone before. Antti finishes sixth. Eurus finishes seventh. Suicide manages to make it ahead of Commy, who hits the pit wall, and he finishes in eighth. Commy finishes in ninth. Slowly crawls across the line. It's 10th for Mart. Saves 1 point for Napoli, Corsa, and Jeff. Will look to be finishing in 11th. Goose in 12th. Quite a race here. A lot of rain shaking up the grid. A lot of hards, a lot of softs. A lot of lag as well. But in the end, 12 drivers have survived the British Grand Prix and the Glasgow circuit. Goose looks to be able to just now finish off before the finish countdown. Yeah, Charge JT in an awkward position. There you have it. Crafteroni, your winner, the first Finnish driver to win a Formula League race. Of course, this is the first season, so it's kind of expected there.
My game crashed, so I don't know if I will show up.
Crash. Save everything if you can. Screenshot.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you're classified here 7th on the results. Second for Corvid with the fastest lap. Joe finishes third. Jaruni, Vlad, Antti, Eurus, Suicide, Commy, Mart, Jeff, Goose, and Priya DNF'd. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 6, 7 different teams, 7 out of 9 that managed to score points here today. Pulsar and Ram with no drivers, unfortunately for them. That was the British Grand Prix. Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you after the mid-season break in 2 weeks in America for a double header of American races. So we'll see you then.